Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Perez. I'm serving as director of Rain Ready Alabama. Thank you for joining us today for this presentation on rain barrels. The goal today is to give you all a background and information on how to install rain harvesting systems at your home, and hopefully you take away some information here that you can apply. Um, at the end of the webinar, we're going to be discussing how you can get your own rain barrel through the Rain Ready Alabama program, and we'll give you instructions on how to do that. Um, Today, presenting with me is Grace Kerr. She's going to lead the presentation. I just wanted to introduce her and talk a little bit about Rain Ready Alabama before she gets started. So Rain Ready Alabama is a new program we just launched last month, and it's a statewide program. The goal is to try to implement green stormwater infrastructure, green low impact development practices throughout our communities. The idea with that being that we promote water reuse, infiltration of stormwater, water uptake and evapotranspiration, and manage stormwater in a different way than we have in the past. Rather than just sending it away to our streets and roads and to our streams, we want to be able to encourage treating the water as closely as possible to our homes and neighborhoods. And this is a program that's supported through the Alabama Department of Environmental Management through what is called a 319 non-point source grants. We're very grateful for that funding opportunity. All right, with that, Grace, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, thank you. Like Mike said, I am Grace Kerr. I'm a grad student at Auburn University, and I'll be giving y'all's presentation today. This is a webinar style, so you won't be able to unmute yourself and ask questions, but we do have a chat box. So while I'm going through the presentation, if you have any questions, just type it in there and we'll answer all those questions for y'all at the end. But other than that, I'm gonna kind of walk you through the agenda that we had planned out today. So first, I'm going to talk about stormwater, what it is, then go into the hazards associated with stormwater. We're going to talk about watersheds and the impacts that stormwater has on them, the rainfall in Alabama, and stormwater harvesting basics and benefits. And then, of course, what y'all all came here today for is installing a rain barrel. We're going to walk through some maintenance and troubleshooting, and then we'll go through the process of how y'all can receive your rain barrels. So, with that being said, what is stormwater? We see it all the time, but really, stormwater is anything that can fall on your roof, driveways, parking lots, streets, any impermeable surface where it's flowing over and it's not really soaking into the soil. And so, usually, when we get a rain event, after a couple hours or the next day, you walk outside and it's sunny. You really don't think about where the stormwater goes after a storm event. And so that water eventually makes its way into your local streams, rivers, and lakes. And so it's also carrying anything that it picks up along the way with it. So some pollutants. And so typically your household wastewater, it will go to a sanitary sewer. From there, it would go to a wastewater treatment plant. They would treat the water and then discharge it into your waterways. However, with stormwater, it's basically collecting all this water off of streets, roofs, houses, so forth, and collecting all those pollutants and going into a catch basin and discharging into your waterways. So it's not being treated. And so some pollutants that stormwater can pick up along the way can be sediment, fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, anything that you're kind of spraying around the outside of your home to keep pests out, your pet waste, oil and grease from maybe your car sitting in the driveway, trash and litter from dumpsters nearby, bacteria it can pick up, your leaves and yard debris. Also heavy metals from maybe your car, your brakes, and soaps and cleaning products. So all of these can kind of get picked up along the way as stormwater is flowing through and eventually go into our nearby rivers and streams. And so that leads into stormwater is one of our nation's largest pollution problems due to the large rainfall events and also just the pollutants that it can pick up along the way. And so not only are we worried about water quality? We're also concerned about water quantity. And so, usually in your more urban or developed areas, you're going to have less well, you're gonna have more impervious area where your rainwater isn't gonna be able to infiltrate or seep into your ground. So that's gonna cause a lot more water volume that will be picking up more pollutants and going into our waterways. And so here's just an example going through a more rural area compared to an urban developed area. And so on the left, you can see that there's some nice grass, some trees, and so typically what would happen is you get a rainfall event, um, your vegetation and trees are gonna soak up some of that water, some of it's gonna infiltrate, go into the ground, and some of it will evaporate as well. But what we're mostly concerned about is the runoff. And so with that vegetation and infiltration, you're only getting about 10% runoff. Meanwhile, when you look at the right figure, this is a more urban area, so a city. There's not a lot of vegetation or areas where your rainwater or stormwater can infiltrate. And so you're not getting as much infiltration. You're getting not a lot of evaporation. And so the percentage of runoff is increased compared to a rural area. So we go from 10% runoff to 55% runoff just by covering up that natural vegetation. And so we've all come across probably a localized flooding where you have a road closed. And so this is also just due to urban areas with water quantity. Um, you don't have a lot of area where your stormwater can infiltrate into your ground. And so in extreme cases, we do have areas where it is flooding. And that not only causes a water quality issue, but it can cause a issue for human safety as well. And so in more extreme cases as well, we see stream bank erosion. So this is also due to a water quantity issue. And you can see we have this stream bank, and on the side you can see the soil erosion. And a little bit further back, we can see the tree and the roots and how really they're almost going to be falling in to the stream. So water quantity is also as big of an issue as water quality is. And so um, Alabama is pretty special just due to all the species that we have. So 10% of the fresh water in the United States flows through the state of Alabama. And it's actually ranked #1 in the US for freshwater crayfish, fish, snail, turtles, and mussel species. So if you think about it, all those pollutants that are going into our water bodies and our streams, these are the species that our habitats are these streams. So we need to do our best to make sure that we're reducing that pollutant loading. And so on the right, you can see this is a map of Alabama and some watersheds, and you could see the streams there. The top blue one, that one is going into Mississippi, but all the others are flowing in to the Gulf. So you could see that really when a rainfall event occurs, all of these pollutants are eventually going down into the Gulf. And so it can be a very substantial issue. And so here is a photo, another map of Alabama, but this is showing you all the lakes, streams, rivers, reservoirs that we have here in Alabama. Now, this next slide is going to show you all of the impaired water bodies. And so what makes a water body impaired is it cannot support activities such as fishing, drinking, or swimming. So that is an issue. There is some sort of pollutant in there that is restricting those recreational activities. And so that's kind of where we come into play. So I mentioned earlier, I am a part of, or I'm a grad student at the Auburn Stormwater Research Facility. And so we have three main objectives. We are a little over 12 acres in Opelika, and we mostly call it our playground because we get to do a lot of research out there. But the three main goals are to evaluate. So we look at different stormwater practices and try to just increase their performance. And then we also innovate, implement. We take these existing designs and create them so they're performing better. And then we also educate. So we do a lot of outreach activities and just kind of like the one we are here today. So I kind of showed you, well, I did show you a map of the state of Alabama and its watersheds, but what is a watershed? And so another map of Alabama, you can see all the different colors there. Those are all the watersheds in Alabama. And so basically it's an area of land where all of that rainwater and runoff drain into the same stream, river, lake, or other body of water. Um, so you can take into account the amount of people that live in all these different watersheds, and when a rain event occurs, all the pollutants that it's picking up along the way, it eventually ends up in the same water body, stream, river. So rainfall in Alabama, Alabama is actually one of the most wettest states in the U.S. So it receives an average of 55 to 65 inches of rainfall each year. Mobile was actually ranked the wettest city in the United States. Um, we get pretty frequent rainfall events throughout the year with no true dry season. We do sometimes get droughts, but it's not typical, or we know we're going to get a drought during a set season. And so just like we're in now, summertime, we do get some pretty intense thunderstorms. It seems to be happening every night. You hear thunder, or we're having some sort of rain event going on. Um, and then with us being close to the coast, we also get some tropical storms or hurricanes that can bring in large amount of rainfall events as well. Okay, so now finally getting into um, the rain barrel activities. So stormwater harvesting and the basics. This is actually a photo I wanted to point out. Look how gorgeous the flowers are, but this is actually at a park that the grad students worked on last year, and you can see the cistern in the back, so just a larger rain barrel. And they're actually using the water from the building back there, capturing it and watering these beautiful flowers. So hopefully y'all's flowers will look just as beautiful once you get your rain barrel. Um, so stormwater harvesting. So this is a process where you're capturing and storing rainwater before it even becomes runoff. So kind of like this figure in the background, you can see where they have a gutter downspout going into these totes, and it's collecting all of that rain that's hitting that roof, and it's kind of conveying it so they could store it and reuse it for other purposes. And so some of those other purposes, well, I guess I do need to disclaimer, do not drink the reclaimed water. This is not treated drinking water, so we do not advise that. But some uses that you can have this used for are watering your garden or your lawn, washing your vehicles, watering small livestock. If you have some chickens, it could be beneficial for that. Or if you have a koi pond, cleaning out your koi pond and refilling it with the rainwater that you've harvested. So just some multiple uh, reuse options for your water you're collecting. And so some benefits to this. You're reducing flooding and runoff. You're collecting that water before it even becomes runoff. You're providing water for your landscape. And it lowers your water bill. This day and age, everything's very expensive. So if it's going to save you money, I would take it. um, and it also improves water quality. So the least amount of rainfall, or sorry, runoff, you're not collecting as many pollutants that will go into your nearby water bodies. So it's going to improve your water quality in your nearby streams, lakes, and it supports sustainability. And lastly, it's also easy to implement. Y'all are going to be able to um, install these with your family at your house. So that'll be exciting. Okay, so now actually preparing to install your rain barrel. So location is key. You want to pick a location that is in close proximity of where you're going to be using this harvest rainwater. So, say if I have a garden nearby, I would want to pick a location that is close so I'm not having to, I guess, get a very long garden hose or carry water back and forth. You need a conveyance system. So you need some sort of surface area that can capture rainfall and channelize it into your rain barrel. So this can be a roof, a catchment area where rain collects, so forth. And your rain gutters, some have the rain chains or a chain, just something to get it into your rain barrel. You also need a stable, flat, and level ground. So kind of like the cistern in the background here, it has a nice boxed in area or pad that's filled with pea gravel. So you want it to be level, you don't want it to tip over, and you also don't want it to sink in the ground. So they did a great job preparing this stable ground for the cistern. You want to make sure it's elevated and covered. So the reason why we want to elevate it is so you can have that water pressure buildup. So you're not having to use a pump or so forth. You can let gravity do its work. And you want to make sure it's covered. The reason for that is for algae growth and mosquitoes, kind of deter any debris from getting inside your rain barrel or preventing any rainwater to fill up your rain barrel. Also overflow. So we need to be careful to make sure our overflow is not creating some erosion. So say if we just had a couple rain events and our rain barrel was filled, we want to make sure that we have either a vegetated or gravel buffer. So when the water overflows, you're not creating another issue. So kind of like the one in this photo we see here that has a concrete slab that it's sitting on. So if this rain barrel were to overflow, it would not disturb that mulch or gravel where it would be landing. Okay, so finally the installation process. So whenever y'all get your rain barrels, make sure you wash it before installing it. It might have been used or some sort of residue left behind, so just make sure you wash it before you start harvesting your rainfall. In some materials and tools. So materials, you're going to need a flexible downspout elbow. And so we'll kind of walk through an installation process, but this will just be so if you set it beside a gutter, you can direct that water into your rain barrel. You're going to need some bridge, cinder blocks, or something to set your rain barrel on that gives it some height to it so we can create that water pressure. A spigot, the rain barrels that you all will be receiving already have spigots on them, but if you would like another one or to add an additional spigot, go for it. And then also a garden hose, but that's optional. Some of y'all might just have a watering bucket or so forth. And for tools, you're going to need a hacksaw, something to kind of cut your gutter to add that flexible downspout elbow on, a marker or pencil to measure out where you're going to need to cut, some pea gravel or sand. So this is just so you can have a nice flat base for your rain barrel or cinder blocks to sit on. A level, remember we need to make sure a rain barrel is level, and then a screwdriver or a drill to attach that downspout elbow. And so this is kind of walking you through a installation process. So first we can see, I'm going to try getting my oh, okay, never mind. I was gonna try getting my cursor up, but you can see on the left-hand side, we have a conveyance. So we have our roof there and we have a gutter. So we know when it rains, we're gonna have an area that our water can be captured. And so we found a gutter and we found a place that is level and will be able to support a rain barrel sitting there. Alrighty, so next step, we are going to place our cinder blocks to create some height of our rain barrel so we can have water pressure. And we're making sure it's level, it's stable, so then we can place our rain barrel on top of it. For your gutter or downspout, you're going to measure approximately 8 inches above the top of your rain barrel. And so that is where you are going to cut it, and then you will be able to attach your flexible downspout to the existing gutter so you can convey that water into your rain barrel. And you're ready to go. Just got to wait for a rain event. Maintenance. I know nobody likes maintenance, but with everything, you have to maintain your rain barrel. But luckily, it's not too much work. So you need to make sure that you're making room for additional rain. Try to limit your rain barrel overflowing, um, and then reduce algae buildup or mosquito concerns. Just kind of make sure you're checking it after each rainfall event to make sure it's operating properly. So inspection considerations. So make sure there's no debris or clogs, um, making sure that there's no cracks or leaks, any water's bypassing your rain barrel. Looking at the structural integrity and the stability of it. We want to make sure we have our rain barrel on a flat, level, stable ground. So if you find after a rain event it's not, then you might need to redo the foundation of it. And then also just looking if there's mosquitoes or pests, just kind of checking out, making sure your water is just rainwater in your barrel. Winterizing. So um, when the colder months come around, we want to make sure that we disconnect or bypass the barrel during freezing temperatures. Um, Weathering, you're gonna get cracks, and we want to make sure that y'all can use these rain barrels in the warmer months for many years to come. All right, so troubleshooting. So, say if we have low water pressure, you can either raise your barrel higher to a higher elevation to create a higher pressure. You can make sure that your spigot or hose, anything that's kind of connected to it, doesn't have any debris or anything clogging it. And then you can also consider adding a pump if even a higher elevation isn't giving you the water pressure that you would like. And so they do make these pumps that are specifically for rain barrels. And they're solar panel charged, so it's not like you have to keep charging the battery or so forth. Algae and mosquitoes. So make sure you're flushing your water. You don't want your rain barrel to sit there with water in the sun for a period of time. It's going to attract algae, mosquitoes, pests. So make sure you clean the inside of it. If you are attracting mosquitoes or you are getting some algae growth, just make sure you might want to move your rain barrel to a more shaded or covered area. Um, and make sure you're cleaning your roof gutters or downspouts of leaves and debris that could possibly be clogging your rain barrel as well. And also, if you mix some vegetable oil and collected water, then that should prevent both of those as well, if it's still a reoccurring issue. Okay, so now the part that y'all are interested in. So for this workshop, we have two different options of how y'all can receive your rain barrels. So option one is delivery. So you would go to this link that we have here, Obby Upcycle, and you would use the discount code AURR01. If you are getting it delivered to your house, then you will still have to pay the $30 shipping fee, but you will not have to pay for the rain barrel. Or option two, if you're local to the Auburn City Waterworks Board, we have the location right underneath there on Sanford Ave. It is you don't have to pay any money to pick it up, but they have not released the pickup date yet. We're still working that out, but once we have that date, we will share it with you all. And of course, these rain barrels are limited to one per household. Um, so just make sure that y'all get one rain barrel. So we have two different rain barrels for you all to choose from. So the one on the left, the kind of orange one, um, there are three different colors and it kind of has a description there for each of them. So y'all can pick a color you want and add it to your cart. The one on the right is a little bit wider of a top, so it is a little bit more expensive than the one on the left. So if you choose the one on the right, you'll still be able to use that code, but you'll have to cover the difference for the two. And then lastly, when this workshop is over, you all will receive an email tomorrow, I think, and you will get all this information in there. But of course, if you have any questions, you can email us. But if you're ordering it online, this is kind of what this page setup will look like. So you'll have your billing details, and then off to the right, where you can apply that discount code, it'll be on the bottom right, water account discount code. That's where you'll type in the AURR01. Um, so yeah, that is it. Thank you all so much for joining me today with your busy schedules. And I will answer any questions that we have. I see a couple in the
Yeah,
chat box, but
Grace, I can help moderate those questions for you. As a reminder, if you have questions, you can go down to the bottom of your page on the Q&A button and type in your question, and we'll answer those as they come in. And just to reiterate, in order to receive your rain barrel, you've got two options. Grace, if you don't mind going back to that slide.
yes, sir. Oh,
So option one is you have it delivered to your home, and you would go to the website aub.ie/upcycle. And from that website, there's a list of options of different rain barrels you can pick from. The ones on the top two, those are the ones that are subsidized by the program. So Grace, maybe go over one more just to
this
show
one.
that page. Yeah, the one on the top left there, that's the standard 55-gallon rain barrel that we're providing. If you do the pickup, this is the one you're getting. But by buying it online, you also have the option of a couple different colors, like Grace was sharing. And then the option on the right, it's a wider rain barrel. It's set up a little bit differently, and it makes it easier to set things up inside the rain barrel. That's something you're interested in doing. So there's descriptions there on both. There's a lot of accessories you can also buy, but those options are available. Just a reminder that it's one per household, whether you're buying it online or picking it up locally. Uh, this year it'll be just one per household. We'll have more options, more opportunities next year, hopefully.
Mhm.
Grace, go back one more about I just want to mention the pickup. If you're local to the Auburn, Lee County area and you want to pick up one more, Grace, back.
Sorry, I can't. There we go.
Yeah. So if you want to pick it up, it'll be at the City Waterworks Board, which is on West Sanford Avenue. We're waiting on the shipment to come in, but since we got it, we purchased a bunch through freight. It's going to be we're covering the shipping for you. You just have to come and pick it up. We're going to email you out with information on pickup if that's something you're interested in. So just hang tight. It might be another 2 weeks or so before they come in, but they have been ordered and paid for. Um, this information is going to go out tomorrow on an email blast to you. Uh, we have a list of who attended, so you did have to attend in order to receive one. So if you weren't in attendance and your name doesn't cross off, you won't be able to pick one up. All right, so I can answer more questions about that if you have, but there's a bunch of questions coming in. So Grace, maybe you and I can tag team this.
Yep.
But I'll start off with the first one. Will you be doing any webinars or offering information about rainwater collection for use in your home, not just for garden or outdoor use? We don't have that planned, but if that is something of interest, we can certainly work on something. Uh, Rainwater harvesting for use at home for domestic use is a little bit more challenging because you have to treat that water. You can't just drink it raw off the rooftop. It's going to have bacteria and other issues. Just think about bird droppings on your rooftop. All of that stuff's being collected. So that's why we tell folks don't drink that water. You'll have to treat it, disinfect it, use chlorine, use UV if that's something you're interested in doing. And I'm sure there's a lot of resources out there if you want to go down that rabbit hole and learn more about it. YouTube's a great place to start. Does Alabama have any regulations concerning water catchment systems? Great question. This is a common misconception about the legality of capturing rainwater and reusing it at your home. No, it's perfectly legal to do that. There are no regulations in Alabama that prohibit you from using a rain barrel or capturing water at your home. It's encouraged. It's considered what we call a best management practice to reduce runoff, to improve the water quality in our neighborhoods. So it is encouraged. When you mentioned winterize, do you mean we should empty the barrel if they're going to be freezing temperatures? Grace, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I would say yes. Mike, you might want to help me with it, but I would say yes. I think the more chances of there being freezing water in your barrel, it's going to expand its ice. The less amount of wear and tear on your barrel, I think you're going to get more use out of it.
Yeah, so ice when it expands or when it freezes, it expands. And so if your rain barrel's full and it starts to expand with frozen water, it might crack it, it might damage it. So we do encourage you during the winter months, go ahead and just drain it out so that, or leave your spigot open so water can get out. But it could also crack your spigots, your hose. So yeah, it's best practice to not keep it full during the winter.
Yeah.
Is it true that you should water vegetables that will be eaten raw? I don't know.
I would not, so whenever I was reading the handbook, I would say no, I would maybe steer clear of it. Um, Try not using or watering the vegetables that you would be eating. But yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, I'm not sure about food safety. It's a good question. I would think it'd be okay to water your vegetables. I would always wash your vegetables just because
Yeah.
it's all the bugs and stuff out there. But um, what are other options for conveyance if you don't have gutters on your home? Great question. So rain barrels are very easy if you've got gutters and downspouts, but what if you don't have rain or if you don't have gutters or downspouts? You've got a few options. One, you can use a funnel to collect water from a lower spot on your home. We were looking at options where you can take a galvanized bucket and shape it. They sell square galvanized buckets. You can put that on a low spot on your roof where water collects. And underneath that, you can put a rain chain. That's another good option to use for gutters. You don't necessarily need a downspout. You can use a rain chain. But I would recommend just do some Googling, do some YouTubing. There's certainly products and options out there for that.
Yeah.
Would you recommend putting a mesh over the top where rainwater enters? Grace?
Yeah, I would say yes, but I'm trying to recall. Do the rain barrels that they received, is the mesh already there or no? Yeah, so
Yeah, and actually on these are the rain barrels you'll be receiving on top, that black lid that
mhm,
opens up and there is a mesh. There's a screen already
yeah.
there in place for you. And that's a great idea because you keep the leaves and debris out, helps keep some of the
Mhm,
bugs out. Critters like to look for water they can drink, so that's a good way of keeping that water separated from critters that are looking for it.
for sure. Yeah.
Can these barrels be tied to another to catch overflow? Great question. Yes, you can actually tie them together through the spigots
Mhm,
and link multiple up together. You'll have to get creative on where to put your garden hose. If you do that, you might need like a Y, um, uh, like a T to divert water from one barrel to the other and one for your garden hose, but it can definitely be done. You can also drill into the sides of the rain barrels to link them up. With regards to adding vegetable oil to help prevent mosquitoes, how should that be done? Any guesses there,
I
Grace?
honestly don't know. I would say hop on Google and type that question in. I wouldn't think it would be a lot, but yeah, it's a question
Yeah,
for Google.
along those same lines, would you recommend um, putting goldfish in the rain barrels to help prevent mosquito growth?
So I did see that. I would say no. I grew up on a farm and we do this for our water trough, but that has consistently flowing water. So I I would not recommend that. Mike, I don't know if you might have something different, but if you're in a
You can put
drought
goldfish
or
in there. I mean, I don't know how long those goldfish are going to last. They're very
yeah,
sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and
exactly.
if you
Yeah,
get
I
a
think
big storm event, they're not going to be happy in there. But
yeah,
I've heard it before. I just don't know how. I haven't tried it.
yeah. You might need some like flowing water just so you could get some more air in there for them. I don't know how well that would turn out, but yeah.
Yeah, going back to the vegetable oil question, a
Hmm.
teaspoon to 1 tablespoon seems to be appropriate. And it's
Okay,
just to create a thin layer on the surface that mosquitoes won't like.
nice.
Um, can you use a rain barrel if your house does not have gutters? Yes, we mentioned the uh, collecting at low spots. Even if you don't have a rain chain or anything like that, even where water's pouring off your roof, you can try to situate, try to catch it by placing your rain gutter at those spots. Would it be safe to use mosquito dunks in the rain barrel for prevention? I've heard that as well. I don't know what's in those products, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, I've heard that works.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what a mosquito dunk is, but
It's a yeah, like a tablet. I've seen like a little chlorine
okay.
tablet.
Yeah.
All right. Would this water be okay for houseplants? Yes. Yeah. So typically your rainwater is very good for plants. It's better than using just water from the city because it doesn't have the chlorine and
Mhm.
all the other additives that are added to drinking water. We had a question about picking up rain barrels here locally. Do they fit in a car? Yes. If your trunk is empty, they'll fit in there. Um, that shouldn't be an issue. We've seen people put them in small cars and you'll be okay. So if you have any more questions, please drop them in the chat box. We'll get to them as they come in. But so far, I've answered everything
Mhm.
that's come in. If you think of anything else afterwards, feel free to email us. We'll be happy to answer it. Also on our website, rainready.auburn.edu, we have a whole guide that you can download on how to a step-by-step guide on how to implement rainwater harvesting at your home. You might also be interested in the other programs we have as part of Rain Ready, including we have a low impact development reimbursement program. So if you're interested in installing a rain garden at your home or permeable pavers or any other what we call green stormwater practice, you can see if your area is eligible for reimbursement. It's based on watersheds, and not every watershed is eligible, but a lot of areas are. So check that out if you're interested. We've got more webinars coming up. We're going to have more rainwater harvesting webinars, but we're also going to have one starting tomorrow. We've got one on um, rain gardens and how to install a rain garden at your home. So if that's something you're interested in, please join us for that. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions. We're going to go ahead and record. We recorded this presentation. We're going to post it on our website if you want to come back and revisit it. But otherwise, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to day to join us. We hope you found this information beneficial, and we would love to see you implement your rain barrels at home. So send us pictures if you get one installed. We'd love to have them.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.